Are you scared of saying the wrong thing? There are many things that you should not say when you are having a conversation in English with someone that you have met recently. That's what we talk about today on the Social English Podcast. Hikari, kick it off.
皆さんこんにちは。毎日少しずつ社交に使える英語の上達を目指すソーシャルイングリッシュポッドキャストへようこそ。今日はぜひもっと自信を持って英会話してみましょう。Are you ready, Parsi? Let's go!
Thanks, Hikari, for that introduction. And I am so glad that everyone could join us today at the Social English Podcast. In today's episode, I want to talk to you about something that I see and hear all the time from Japanese learners of English. And that is improper or kind of rude, somewhat rude questions to ask someone during a conversation. It is sometimes very interesting to me how some Japanese learners of English or people in general ask these questions because they wouldn't want the same questions asked to them many times. I think it has something to do with the English that they learned earlier. So, let's talk about that today in the podcast. Okay, I'm going to give you 5 topics to not talk about when you are having a conversation with someone. These are 5 general topics, and if you stay to the end of the podcast, you will get a bonus 6th topic to not talk about when having a conversation in English. Now, those of you that are here for the first time, welcome. This is the Social English Podcast, where we help you become a better English speaker a little bit every day. You can find our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google, Stitcher, and also our website, realsocialenglish.com. Now, let's go and talk about today's episode. Now, as always, what I want you to do is relax. Think about me and you are just sitting at a cafe. You're having your favorite coffee or tea, maybe. And I'm having my favorite coffee, which is a mocha latte. So I'm having my mocha latte, and me and you, we are sitting here and we are talking about social English, and you are asking me questions, and I am explaining to you in English conversation, social English, and other things. So let's go ahead and get started today. These are the 5 topics that you want to stay away from and avoid when meeting people. You should generally stay away from most of these topics, even with people that you do know well. But in today's podcast, let's go ahead and talk about those things. Number 1, religion. I think that Japan isn't really a religious focused society very strongly as it is in the West, but people in the Americas practice, especially in North America, Canada, United States, practice different religions, and they take their belief system seriously. So slide comments or talking about Christianity or any of those other religions is just something you do not want to do, because even a genuine interest, if you are interested in the person and their culture, sometimes a question about their religion will be taken as an attack against them, and they will not appreciate it. So please, number one, stay away from conversations about religion. Number two, politics. So I know that many Americans do not know who the prime minister is in Japan, and the vice versa. On the other hand, I know that many people around the world know who the president of the United States is. Sometimes you learn a little bit about politics and certain issues within politics. I believe you should not discuss politics because, just like religion, many people firmly stand on their belief in their political party or political system. And if you say anything that is against that, they may look at you a different way, and you do not want that, because you want just a friendly conversation and you want to understand people around the world more and learn more about the world. So you do not want to do number two, talk about politics. Number three, do not talk about difficult social issues. What I mean by that are things such as possibly women's rights, just things that are very difficult for the time. You do not want to ask or talk about those things in your conversation. The only time that I suggest you might want to talk about these things is if you are at an advanced level of English and you are taking a social justice type of course, and that is the topic of the course. So you want to learn more from an individual that lives in that society. If that is not you, you should stay away from talking about sensitive social issues. Okay? Difficult social issues to discuss. You want to stay away from those things. And that is what I suggest. Stay away from number three. Number four, marital status. I don't know why, but most of the beginning English learners, Japanese English learners, want to ask, are you married? Are you married? When they ask a question to someone in conversation. This is not a question to ask a stranger or a person that you are just getting to know. Now, the reason is because a person, after you've known them for a while, and you are both comfortable, there are levels. Think of it as a game. There are levels that you need to reach. When you are first meeting someone, you are at level 1. You should not think about asking about someone's marital status, if they are married, if they are single. You should not ask that until you have known them and you feel you're at level 3, maybe. Okay? So when you are first meeting someone, you're at level 1. Do not ask number 4, are you married? What's your marital status? Okay? Don't ask that. And I really want to stress that because I often see and hear Japanese people that are learning English ask that question. Are you married? Are you married? And this is not polite. This is not polite in Western culture to ask someone if they're married. Okay, so that is number 4. Do not ask someone if they are married. Number 5. Do not ask someone's age. Do not ask, how old are you? Now, I know that many people learn the term or the phrase, how old are you? And this is a phrase because it is easy to learn for a beginner. But in conversation, you do not want to ask someone how old they are in a real conversation with a real person. It is rude and it is saying you have very bad manners. Okay? So do not ask someone how old they are, especially if they are a woman. It is very rude in Western cultures to ask a woman how old she is. Okay, so that is number 5, age. Please do not ask someone how old they are. So now we come to number 6. This is the bonus question I do not want you to ask, not even ask or talk about in conversation. Now, this may sound strange because when you are a beginner, you learn to talk about this all the time. What am I talking about? Number 6, the weather. Do not talk about the weather. The weather is what you learn when you're in elementary school, maybe junior high school, and high school in Japanese schools. You learn how to talk about the weather. It's rainy, it's snowy, it's a little hot, it's humid, it's cloudy, and so on. Those type of things. So we don't want to have that type of questions in real conversations. The reason being is as soon as you say, what do you think about the weather? You are sub-communicating, which means you just told the person who is listening to you that you don't have anything to say. And you just told them you are a bit boring. So they will most likely think, oh my God, this is a boring person, and not want to talk to you. Okay? So please, bonus tip number 6, do not talk about the weather. Okay, great. That's pretty much it. Let's go ahead and review and wrap up those top 5 tips with the 6th bonus tip. These are the 5 things you do not want to talk about. Number 1, do not talk about religion. Do not talk about someone's religion at all. Do not bring that up in conversation. Number 2, politics, political party, anything like that. This can really quickly lead to misunderstandings and the person that you really wanted to speak to and have a conversation not liking you, okay, and being upset with you. So do not talk about politics. Number 3, difficult social issues such as women's rights, LGBTQ, just anything that are difficult social justice issues right now, including Black Lives Matter. Don't bring those conversation topics up to persons that you are just meeting. Okay, new people. You don't want to talk about that with them. Okay, let's talk about the next one. Number 4, okay, marital status. Do not ask someone, hey, how are you? Are you married? Don't ask, are you married? Are you single? Don't ask any of that, because on one hand, it's rude. On the other hand, it's subcommunicating that you are interested in the other person and you want to date them, you yourself, which most of the time, that's not the case. You're just asking the question. So just don't ask marital status questions. It is embarrassing to you and the listener. 5, do not ask someone's age. It is definitely not a topic you need to be discussing in conversation. It is very rude, so do not ask someone's age. Last, do not talk about the weather. Do not bring up the weather, because it subcommunicates that you are a boring person and you have nothing important or interesting to talk about. Okay, so those are the 6 things that you do not want to discuss with someone when you are having a conversation with them. Okay, so just stay away from those topics and you should be fine. All right. Thank you for joining me today on the Social English Podcast. I am Percy, your host. It was great talking to you today on our podcast. And check this out. You should just definitely go see us at realsocialenglish.com, where you can find many tools to help you improve your English a little bit every single day. You can download our 7 mistakes most Japanese learners of English make and how to fix them. This is a free PDF for you to download. All I ask for is your email address so that I can let you know when we are having new podcasts and also all the new tools that we update. You can also apply to become a guest on the show at the realsocialenglish.com, where I will take a question from you and fix the English and correct it live on the show so that everyone gets a chance to learn from it. Subscribe to our podcast at Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Stitcher for more episodes. Also follow us on social media. We're on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Real Social English or Real Social or Social Japanese. Okay. Now, for the last thing I want you to do is I want you to tell you about our contest. We are giving away 5,000 yen Amazon gift cards. All you have to do to participate in the contest is you need to do 3 things. Number 1, download our PDF, these 7 mistakes that most Japanese learners of English make. Number 2, you need to share with our podcast with 5 different people on your social media. And the last thing you need to do is subscribe to the podcast. You do those 3 things, all of those three things, and you are automatically entered into our contest. So good luck to you there. It was great talking to you today. Have a great day. Hikari, kick it off.
今日は楽しい時間をありがとうございました。ぜひ私たちのウェブサイト リアルソーシャルイングリッシュ .com を訪問して日本語訳と役立つ情報を手に入れてください。また次回お会いしましょう。バイバイ。See you next time. Bye bye.